Hey guys, I'm back again. We're talking to another dream maker, Mr. Aaron. And how in the world did you come to work at 9 Mile Chick-fil-A?
So it's actually kind of a long story with that. I moved down here for school. I was going to go to Pensacola Christian College, and right away I wanted to get into a Chick-fil-A. So being that Bayou is right close, I wanted to get into that one. But God didn't have it for me at the time, first semester. So I was kind of discouraged, to be honest, at first, and then just how God kind of providentially worked it out to be at 9 Mile was just, you could tell it was all Him. I ended up meeting someone from corporate, and they were like, hey, with the dreams you have of wanting to be an operator, like, you should be with Mr. Barnes at Chick-fil-A 9 Mile. And so he gave me the email address for Miss Kim, actually, and got me plugged in, and so I ended up starting that spring semester.
That is awesome. I did not know that. That is really cool, really cool.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
How have your goals changed, or however you would explain that, because of your growth here at Chick-fil-A?
So like I said, I have always kind of wanted to be selected to be an owner of a Chick-fil-A, but I think really just my mindset towards the goal has changed under Mr. Barnes and his leadership, and rather than just strictly, hey, I want to be an operator of a Chick-fil-A, you know, make X amount of money, stuff like that. To me, just the whole perspective change of really, it's just about making a difference in the community, and really becoming just the best I can be wherever I'm at. So whatever role I'm in or wherever I'm at, just becoming the best I can be, really focusing on the who, and then the what of, you know, eventually being selected as operator will work itself out. So that's kind of, I think, a big change to answer that.
That's really cool. Now, while we're here on this subject, why don't you give us a plug for Champion League? How about that?
Champions League? Yeah, definitely. So Champions League is really unique in that it's outside of the level 1, level 2, level 3 leadership materials. It's a corporate education series, so it's an outside program, and it really just focuses in the first kind of couple months, really talk about the mindset, and I might mention a little bit more later, but just the importance of your the mindset that you have, your attitude, and then like I said, with it being an outside program, really talks about just as a professional overall, how you can grow and kind of set goals, time management. There's just so much that you've learned from the program overall. So.
And that's also something you can put on a resume for, it's not necessarily within, like you said, it's outside of Chick-fil-A.
Right,
Okay,
right,
that's
exactly.
awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what goal? We're talking to you because you've just reached a goal. So what goal
Yes,
have you
ma'am.
just reached?
Yeah, so actually one recent really big accomplishment is graduating. So I had my bachelor's in business management concentration, and then a minor in marketing. And so that's kind of a big thing just this past fall, or excuse me, spring, that I graduated with. So.
That's awesome. Did you think it was hard or easy to accomplish that goal?
Miss Denise, it was very hard. definitely very difficult. So.
Okay. Did you ever want to quit?
Yeah, I mean, talk about, I think Jasmine might have mentioned too, just the late nights, early mornings. You know, it's definitely, there's times where it's like, hey, you know, this is difficult, whether it's with work or school, but yeah, so there was definitely a couple of those times along the 4 years of college.
You mentioned earlier about not being accepted at Bayou, and some might consider that a failure. Can you think of anything else during this time that some people might consider a failure, but you still kept going through it?
Yeah, I would say even just in the classes that I was taking, I wouldn't consider myself like the smartest guy or anything like that. I would try to just work hard and be driven to, you know, get good grades, but there was times, talk about literally like failing, maybe it's a test or something like that, and so just seeing that and not letting something like that get me down, but saying, hey, you know, how can I improve this for the future? Who do I need to get with? How can I get better? So, you know, I would say education-wise, that's definitely been a part of my past. So.
Okay, so you were at school full-time, and you work here full-time, right? And that's correct. So do you consider yourself superhuman?
superhuman.
Mm-hmm. No.
Not superhuman, no.
Do you think other people could accomplish what you've accomplished?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
It's all about the mindset, kind of like I talked about earlier.
Okay.
So.
What do you think helped you more, motivation or discipline?
I think for me a big part was discipline, and so when it comes to waking up early, you know, everyone I think has experienced the point where you set your alarm and then just kind of you're in the natural state of just hitting snooze. But I could honestly say that I was at a point where even if I didn't have an alarm, but just kind of have that discipline of being able to get up on time. That was a big, you know, not perfect, but that was definitely a huge. And being able to, you know, do the schoolwork with the late nights at work as well. So.
I've always been impressed with people that do that are full-time in both. Okay, so what would you tell the starting out self from the a goal achieved self?
Starting out self from the goal achieved.
What would you now tell the starting out self?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a question. There's so much that I can think of with that. Going back to, like I said, the mindset and different things. But I would say probably the most, kind of what I would say for me personally, was to not forget about the working smart part of it. Because it's important to work hard. I think we all realize that. And I was coming in, you know, having a lot of different jobs previously, and I had, you know, I wasn't afraid of hard work by any means. But when it comes to the smart work, that was something that I had to really kind of grasp. Like I said, I would be up late studying, but the next year I realized, hey, I could just be studying with someone who is smarter than me or who knows what they're doing, and talk to the teacher. So that kind of like smart work aspect of it was huge for me. And you can apply that really in anything you're doing with your day-to-day job as well. You know, work smarter and harder. You know, it's important to have the combination to be able to achieve what you're going for.
Have good people around you to help you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Now, what's next for Mr. Aaron?
What's next? So, kind of when I hear that question, kind of brings the verse to my mind of Proverbs 3:5 and 6. The fact that you know, I have to trust in God with everything and acknowledge Him in everything that I do, and He's going to kind of direct the path of life. And so that's just kind of realizing that. I can say too, though, I have a lot of different goals, and I would say spiritually I'm really excited for the next step with the church that I just joined. Really starting to get involved and serve there. And then I'd say personally I have a lot of different goals when it comes to my health. One big thing is I want to be to run a half marathon in November, actually. So that's going to be exciting to do that. And again, with that, getting around the right people to do that is really important. And then professionally, kind of talked about it earlier with wanting to be selected to be an operator. So I'm continue work here for Chick-fil-A 9 Mile to eventually get that store director experience, and then apply for a program that is like through the support center to eventually be selected to be an owner of a store. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts and your experience, and we just love you, and we're so glad you're here with us, and look forward to seeing what's next for you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, sir.